We've seen a quite large range of data coming in recently. Inflation rates continue to decline, and regarding the economic data, we have seen some very weak data, particularly in Europe, where industrial production still proves to be on the very low side, but also quite strong data out of the US, where particularly the labor market data are still pretty strong. Given this, although the interest rates are, according to customary definitions, in a restrictive territory, central banks are likely to become more cautious. And therefore the question for investors from now on is more the question of, will there be a next interest rate hike, rather than how large will the next hike will be. In that respect, we looked through our interest rate forecast and made some revisions. And we revised up slightly, both for the Fed and for the ECB, the terminal rate. We now expect further rate hikes in May, in both areas by 25 basis points. So the higher end of the Fed range will be 5.25 and the ECB will go to 3.25 in the deposit rate. Given this environment, we still think that we are on the way of an economic slowdown in both the US and in Europe, and in particularly in Germany, this will lead to a recession. And overall inflation is likely to come down. These trends are likely to continue for some time, including an inversion of the yield curve. But going ahead, from 2024 onwards, we think that both the Fed and the ECB start to cut rates. This will give support for the economy, and that probably will drive us some way going ahead. After that, those interest rate hikes and inflation shocks are digested, we think that the 4 Ds will become determinant for the economic developments. That means that demographic changes, the deglobalization, which both, particularly in Europe, will have a dampening effect on the economy, but also the decarbonization and digitalization will prove the main factor for the economic developments. And therefore, in our long-term outlook, which we also presented in our recent perspectives, we think that medium-term growth will be lower, and at the same stage, inflation somewhat higher than we have seen in previous decades.